podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Friday Night Lights at Wheesh Park. How do you pronounce that?
I mean, it's got to be wheesh, right? That's the.
Wheesh.
I mean, I guess it could be hewish, maybe hoish at a push. Wheesh sounds good though.
Yeah, you'd have trouble if you were French, I'd say, with this one.
They renamed it under
Particularly
Herrera
difficult.
Stadium anyway after what he did there last time we played them.
That's right. We're almost. It's almost a derby. We play them that often.
It's a grudge match.
Just 400 miles to get down there, or whatever it is.
I mean, it's such a brilliant away trip, isn't it, for the away fans, especially since it's the FA Cup and they've got that whole stand all to themselves. Saw lots of people we knew on telly last time they played Yeovil. That's my memory, apart from the goal by Ander Herrera and he who shall not be named.
So, what's the big news of the week? United beat Burnley.
Yeah.
Just about.
Well, that's a kind of interesting description of it, isn't it? Because in a way, they sort of battered Burnley, but they did not make it comfortable for themselves with that performance in the final third, did they?
No, I mean, didn't actually create that many chances. So it's not that. It's not as if United created 30 chances and were being hugely wasteful. Burnley very, very good at defending deep with the low block. So United didn't really create that much. Didn't really mix up the tactics at all. Struggled to get sort of the byline, get crosses in. And then wasted the few chances that were created, mostly. And then towards the end, of course, got a little bit deep, as United are wont to do in matches they were winning. And Burnley sort of pushed hard, but didn't really create a lot. I thought, actually, United defended very well for the most part.
Yeah, I suppose a very noteworthy performance from both centre-backs. I have to say, I noticed Phil Jones more than I noticed Chris Smalling, but the numbers would suggest that Chris Smalling had an excellent game. 14 aerial duels won, which is a big number of aerial duels. Stats just kind of plucked out of the air don't really mean anything, but 14 is a lot more than people normally win in a game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, not sure what Burnley are doing there because they've got a little man up front. So launching it at the little man is that well-known tactic to fail normally. But, Burnley have, as we talked about on last week's pod, not been in great form. And they look like a side not in great form, Plenty of huff and puff, but no real quality. And what did they... Did De Gea have to make any saves of real note?
There was one,
Not sure they did. One crashed off the bar, but it was the top of the bar, and I think De Gea was in a good position. A couple of sort of easy saves. Don't remember a difficult one.
I thought the most noteworthy performance in a lot of ways was Paul Pogba's, who I thought had a real off day. The whole sort of final third, United's attacking unit, which has been in really good fooling lately, just didn't look on its game, really. I thought Lukaku was excellent for the most part. Really fine assist for Martial, and did a lot with not that much in terms of like making sure he was linking up play and all that sort of thing. But Pogba, generally speaking, it looked to me in the first half like he was in full on try hard, win the game on your own mode, almost frustrated from the off for some reason. And then
I guess so. He wasn't as nearly as influential as he was last week, for example. I didn't think he was bad. I mean, Lingard and Mata were, for me, much more off their game than Pogba. But it was just one of those kind of solid, professional, pretty clean. Didn't really look like they were going to give up their lead. I mean, it's 2 shots on target each for Burnley and United. So I think that's a pretty good description of the whole game, really. It wasn't a super exciting game. United did just enough.
The moment that really stands out about Pogba's performance was the counter-attack in which he burst through and had two defenders on him, and both Martial and Lukaku on either side of him in excellent positions in space. And the decision to shoot there at 1-0 from 22 or 23 yards out felt like a very, very foolish decision under the circumstances.
Well, the kind of decision that if it was Marcus Rashford making that decision, Mourinho would have called him out for it. And in fact, if it was many players. So Pogba benefited from his normal excellence. It was really, he doesn't normally make bad decisions like that, I've got to say. So let's call it a mistake and, not reflective of his normal game. Rashford came on and was not very good. He looks like a player who needs some time off. If he's not played an awful lot of football recently. I know he's playing every game this season or every Premier League game, but it's a few minutes. It looks more like mental fatigue than anything. He's taking 5 touches when he once would have taken 2.
He is in what his Spanish colleagues would call a difficult moment, Marcus Rashford. It's a bad patch for him for sure. And it all passed as soon as it came, I'm sure. And I don't know whether it's fatigue or just confidence. Like he just needs a little run in the starting 11 rather than a break, because he has been substitute a lot recently, hasn't he? I mean, how often? I haven't got the numbers in front of me, but how often has he started a game recently? It can't be very often.
Not a lot, yeah. I mean, I suppose he could play at Yeovil. I just wonder whether just some time off might not do him good, although they did have that 10-day break in Dubai recently. Just to refresh the mind as much as anything else. I mean, of course, Alexis Sanchez almost certainly now arriving. Doesn't look like anything's going to go wrong with the deal now. Arriving at the right time if we wanted to give Rashford a break. Also going to put him under some pressure, I suppose. But
Rashford's not in the team, so I don't that's where I don't quite get the idea that a break is what he needs, just because he hasn't been in the team. So it's not like Sanchez coming in will displace Rashford from the team. Like Martial's displaced Rashford, doesn't he? And Mourinho's using him as a late sub.
He's in every squad and he's got to be mentally prepared. I don't know. It's the amount of touches he's taking looks like a guy who needs to freshen his mind up in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree at all with that. One thing that you said earlier was that Lingard had a really bad game against Burnley. What did you not like about his performance?
I didn't say he had a bad game. I said him and Mata were more off their game than Paul Pogba. Yeah, right. So I don't think he contributed much at all. Neither did Mata. And in the way that Mata's been influential as a figure who has basically been able to play where he wants for the last few weeks, and it's worked well.
Yeah.
I didn't think he found the space between the lines, and of course there wasn't any space between the lines.
Yeah,
with the way Burnley play.
I wonder whether that was the key, really. That actually in this game, Mourinho would have been better off opting for out and out width. Although, of course, you don't necessarily want to be knocking crosses at those Burnley defenders either, do you? I mean, Burnley really do present a tricky tactical proposition, and in the end, the thing that broke them was, as we I think we might have even said on the preview that it was likely to be, it was a shot from distance that broke Burnley, and a very, very fine one from Anthony Martial, 3-3.
Yeah, although, maybe not the game situation, I thought. I didn't really think United would be trying to catch Burnley on the break, which is basically what happened there. Some lovely control and turn and pass from Lukaku and shot from distance from Martial, but basically he's just he's got that one space open up in which to shoot. The defender has kindly shielded the goalkeeper from seeing any of that. Not that it would have made much of a difference, and he's stuck it in the top corner.
Yeah, brilliant. He's in superb form and he's just a wonderful player, isn't he? I know we wax lyrical about Martial all the time. If you think we're bad on a podcast, you should see the WhatsApp group. It's just me and Ed going, he's brilliant, isn't he? And Tom saying the same.
Just in time for Alexis Sanchez to come in and take his place on the left-hand side then.
Yeah, that is definitely not going to happen. So, in fact, I guess this is the Burnley game. It's hard to really pick apart and dissect a 1-0 win away at Burnley. It's a big result because we're trying to rack up those 3 points. It was not a fluent performance, and in a way that the thing I think we've done best in the the little good run of form that came after the kind of Christmas flatness, that little good run of form, that the best thing about United has been the interplay between that front four and Pogba, and it wasn't there in the same way against Burnley, but they did the job. They got it done in the end, and we marched on to the FA Cup, and then a massive game away at Spurs in midweek after that. But we will presumably by then not have Henrik Mkhitaryan anymore in the squad. Not that that'll make a lot of difference, but we'll have Alexis Sanchez. So where is he going to play?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm torn between him playing off the right and potentially with Juan Mata moving inside or competing with Jesse Lingard for that spot at number 10. Now there's no Mkhitaryan. Or him playing at number 10 and just being a direct replacement for Lingard. Could be either.
Yeah, I mean, actually, to come to think of it, we probably had this discussion last week, didn't we, in some depth. Mm-hmm. But if you think about the style of player that he is, replacing Mata will really change the balance of United's attack, and not necessarily for the worst or not necessarily for the better. But it'll be a new, different option compared to with what has been going on.
And Mourinho's been reluctant to play Rashford down the right and Martial down the left.
Yeah.
For the most part. And he likes the control that Mata brings. Of course, Mata can bring that control playing from a central area. Typically, that hasn't happened under Mourinho. But it's an option. Sanchez played more of his football off the left at Arsenal. Cuts in, classic inverted winger, really. Cuts inside and can shoot. Is where he scores a lot of his goals. That would be a pity, since that's two of United's strengths. In Rashford and Martial as options down the left, you'd be converting 3 players into one if you did that.
And that's why I think it's almost not even likely to be part of the discussion, because, the fact that Mourinho's got rid of Mkhitaryan, well, we don't know this for absolutely sure, but come on, the dots haven't been... The I's haven't been dotted and the T's haven't been crossed, but Alexis put a picture on his Instagram story of him getting onto a private jet this morning, and there's not exactly been any shortage of Arsene Wenger basically said, yes, this is what's happening.
Arsene Wenger said he was driving up north, so that was a lie for a start.
Typical line.
He was hitching, was it? Thumb in the left. No, well, we know the transfer's not complete until Craig Norwood has given us the pictures. Well, no pictures, no transfer, but I'm sure it's coming very shortly. The sticking point appeared to be how much Mino Raiola was going to get in his commission.
Isn't it always?
From shifting Mkhitaryan from United to Arsenal, basically.
I have to say, I very much enjoyed Raiola's line when he was asked if Mkhitaryan was part of the Sanchez deal, and he said, no, Sanchez is part of the Mkhitaryan deal. I was like, yeah, that is a good agent that says that.
Nice segue to talking about some of the numbers, really, because there's been an awful lot of bullshit written in the papers. Incredible amount. I'm not one of these people who are like, oh, the media's biased against United, because I don't believe that's true. I think United get a disproportionate amount of coverage because it's the biggest club in the land. And so, of course, there's going to be a lot of column inches. But some real crap written. Nothing worse than Neil Ashton's column in The Sun, which, I shouldn't read, of course, but I did, which basically said he'd given up everything, his morals, his dignity, his self-respect in order to join United and not Manchester City, because, as we know, Manchester United are a club just taken over by billionaires spending their way to victory, right? And it's not Manchester United, the 130-year-old institution that pretty much every player on the planet would like to join. And that line has been taken by journalists up and down the country as if somehow the correct moral choice would have been to join Manchester City and not one of the planet's biggest clubs. Nonsense. Yeah.
The thing you said about, the media bias. I remember back in 2017 when I used Twitter, I used to get quite a lot of tweets pointing out to me, almost assuming that I would share the idea that there was a negative media bias towards United, because it's like it seems to be just generally assumed, whereas actually, as we know from our own numbers, as is the case for people like Full-Time Devils, and as is the case for any big organisation writing about United, if you want traffic on United stories, write good news stories. We get more listeners when United win. Full-Time Devils get more viewers when United win. Clicks on websites are much more prominent when United either are doing well, or their stories of praise are much more likely to be shared by United fans. So,
well, of course, the thing you really need to do is add a clickbait headline to that. So maybe we should do that on the pod. The happy jolly pod with "You'll never believe what this player thought about this game." Shocker! Rankcast 231.
200. My goodness, Ed. That's
300 and whatever.
Yeah, 300 and a million. But yeah, so it's a nonsense to suggest that there's a conspiracy in the media against United. There's loads of United fans in the media.
I've come to the conclusion, having done the best I could to work out what the numbers are, that actually it's a very good deal for United. So there's no cash moving either way. It's effectively a straight swap. We're swapping a £35 million player for the fee that Arsenal were demanding for a player who would typically be worth much more than that if he wasn't out of contract in 6 months. And the net wage is about 300 grand or something like that, and probably not even that much, because I'm quite sure in a number of these figures they're adding in signing bonus and image rights and stuff like that.
Wait, do you mean net wage?
I just mean like what we're losing in Mkhitaryan's wage. The net addition to United's wage bill. Right.
It's 300 grand a week. So Alexis is making 300 grand a week more than Mkhitaryan was making.
Yeah, something like that. It would appear to be, but that's including all the various bonuses and stuff like that.
That's a lot.
But United are going to lose Carrick from the wage bill soon, and almost certainly Ibrahimovic, and there'll be very little difference. United's wage bill is about the third largest in Europe at the moment, roundabout. I mean, there's top 5 clubs all very close to each other there, and it also make the biggest revenue of any club in Europe. So what? It's a fraction of United's income on this deal. There have been much bigger deals for the club down the years.
The whole United versus City of it all. It's very interesting because, on one hand, I do have some sympathy with the people writing it doesn't really make sense from a football perspective that he's come to United over City when City are going to win the league this season, for example. So
yeah, I'm sure that's what Yaya Toure thought, when they offered him huge mega bucks in 2009 or whatever.
No, but I'm not talking about the moral relativism of it. Like, that's obviously total nonsense. I mean, City are built on the current incarnation of City are built on that. That's their entire model, isn't it? But right now, I just mean right in this very transfer window, there is a logical argument that he should just move to City. But on the other hand, there's so many footballing arguments against that. So first of all, Sanchez and Pep didn't exactly work a total treat at Barcelona, did it?
Well, yeah, but only one season together. But
but quite a fractious season at that. Then on the other hand, you've got the fact that there's no way he'll play every week at City because there's much more competition for places in the spots that are likely to be his. So he'll be less needed and less kind of valued by that squad. He'd be much more of a kind of peripheral figure. I don't mean literally peripheral as in hardly involved, but I mean relatively speaking. Like, he comes to United, he's going to be a kind of star player straight away in a different way than he would at City. And also, the thing that really makes sense is Mourinho and Sanchez, personality-wise, seems to be, if ever there's a player in modern-day football who will apply Mourinho's run-through-walls-for-me methodology, you would imagine Alexis Sanchez is it.
Yeah, I think he still would have been a starting player at City. I mean, clearly they wanted to spend £60 million on him last summer. Had a fee agreed, and he would have gone had it not been for the fact that Arsenal couldn't get a replacement. So, I wonder whether the doubt that came in at City is much more to do with the balance of their squad and not wanting to upset things in the middle of the season, not needing him quite as much at this moment. Them dithering and it giving United the opportunity, and sure he's going to make more money at United, but honestly, what's the difference between 400 grand a week and 300 grand a week? Right, because he would have been making that much. It's not a lot, and maybe he's made that decision. It's not life changing. I think actually what has happened more than anything is that City have gone, I'm not sure about this anymore, and it's not about the money because sovereign wealth fund doesn't make any difference.
Well, doesn't it? I mean, do they have no interest in relative value? Are they completely like, well, it doesn't matter, we'll just pay anyone anything? That doesn't seem to necessarily be where they're at right now. I mean, that certainly was where they were at when Yaya Toure signed, but
they spent £150 million on fullbacks last summer and only one of them ever plays.
One of them got injured straight away, didn't he? To be fair. But yeah, I mean, and it's not like who was prepared to pay the most transfer fee was going to be what really decided this, was it? It's the total financial package of it all. I don't know. I think it's very easy from a United perspective to go, oh, this is all fine. But there's not nothing in the idea that actually kind of joining United over City right now and United throwing way more money at it than City did. That is a thing, isn't it? That is a thing that hasn't happened before. It does reflect where both clubs are at on like today,
Sure, but I'm quite sure Alexis Sanchez has also bought into the argument. I think it's a fair one that he can make a bigger impact on United's performance than he would do going to City. I'm sure Mourinho will have sold him the idea, or his agent will have sold him the idea that he could really help this United team push City hard. Why not? So look, club wants another player more than another club is prepared to spend a bit more money is a story that we see 100 times every season in transfers. 100 times more, what's the big deal? Jeez, I mean, United didn't used to have until the Glazers came in, United didn't used to have a problem paying the best wages. And in fact, since Fergie went, United suddenly don't have a problem paying the best wages again on account of, I'm sure, the Glazers realising the value being wiped off their asset of a team finishing 7th was not that good. So, yeah, I just don't see the big deal here. The kind of moral arguments about this are ridiculous.
Sure.
Players joining one of the biggest clubs on the planet, yeah, they're going to pay him a great wage. He could have also got that by moving to China and playing for, Evergreen Guangzhou or something like that, and never being seen again. Money is money. Players can get a lot of it being good. He would have been able to get that at another top European club as well. So what? Yeah.
So scale of 1 to 10 or grade from whatever to whatever. How do you rate this transfer for United, assuming Mkhitaryan out, straight swap, load more money?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good transfer for the most part, right? Just take it as a great player, great addition, great record over the last 10 years in Europe. He's going to score lots of goals and provide lots of chances and get lots of assists. I was looking at the numbers. He has a better goals scored, chances created, assists, passes completed, key passes than Coutinho, for example, who's just gone for 140 million, right? So all of it better, and not necessarily in a better side during that time. So he's going to put up great numbers for United. As Mourinho said yesterday, he only has 4 attackers for 3 spots. I'm not quite sure that was right.
Someone needs to take Mourinho back to primary school and teach him counting again.
But, he doesn't have loads of options. This is another option, so I think that's great. It's a lot of money, but I actually think when you look at his value to United is now double what they've just paid for him because he's now on a long-term contract. So there's one way of thinking about it. And the huge wages will be offset by Mkhitaryan going, Carrick going, and Ibrahimovic going. Yeah,
although Carrick and Ibrahimovic going, they're not. It's not like we're not going to sign anyone on big money in the summer, is it?
Sure. United's total wage bill is, as a percentage of revenue, is the lowest in the Premier League. Could have paid even more.
That's pretty amazing when you think how much money is going out every week. I think I said this last week on the show, but I do have some... I've got super into the hype of it all over the past week and just been kind of excited at the prospect. But I do have some reservations about Sanchez's style and persona and how that'll affect United's attack, especially if he feels like... I don't know if he feels like he needs to do it single-handedly, but you kind of think that in training... he'll realise pretty quickly that he's surrounded by a much better calibre player than he was at Arsenal, because out of Arsenal's entire starting 11, Sanchez and Ozil are the only people that would get near United's first 11, and
right.
Ozil not even necessarily. Actually,
his major competition for a place in the team was Theo Walcott.
Everton's Theo flipping Walcott.
Flipping.
Yeah.
Flipping, I tell you. He's going to be alongside a much, much better set of players.
The one other player I think at Arsenal who could trouble United's first team for like 6 matches a season when he's fit would be Jack Wilshere when he's at his best.
The myth that he's Jack Wilshere. When was that exactly?
No,
maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
He's been pretty good this season. Like since he's fought his way back into the team. I think he made quite a big difference to Arsenal. But anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, so I guess maybe that will, because it's not like you see him play for Chile and you think, oh, he's just acting like a big shot all the time, and he could easily do that in the Chile side, where obviously he's a national hero and understandably so. But actually, he seems to be a real sort of team player in that collective, and it really is just the last sort of season and a half at Arsenal where it's been quite unpleasant to watch him, really. There's just a touch of Cristiano Ronaldo 08-09 about it all,
He scored 30 goals last season. I'm not sure it's last season and a half.
Fair enough.
It's definitely been this season, and he believed he was leaving, and I think mentally his head had gone a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. But and Arsenal have probably done the right thing for them by... they've now got a player who'll probably do very well at Arsenal. At least he'll be very Arsenal in that he's good one game in 8 or something. Fit in just fine.
I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a salute to Mkhitaryan in a way. I'm very sad that Mkhitaryan's leaving because it means the dream of good Mkhitaryan is dead. It feels very similar to when Kagawa left, and it was like obviously the right thing that he left. Maybe even Danny Welbeck a little bit of like the player that you could see in there never really consistently was able to bring that to bear on United. But last season he was a very important player for us and so important in the Europa League. He scored in Stockholm, right? There's obviously the Scorpion kick, which now Arsenal don't have to worry about arguing whether Giroud or Mkhitaryan's better because they've got both of them. But he brought something really special to United on his day. I just remember the pre-season game against Wigan, which was his first appearance in a red shirt, and he just looked absolutely electric, and it looked like he was going to make a real difference. And then there was the derby, and he was so dreadful in that game, and then reacted apparently really, really badly to being substituted, and that cost him 3 months of his United career. And it looked like it was going well. At the beginning, he's got 5 assists in the first 3 games of the season, I think, this season. And then just since then, I remember you and I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but we were there at that Crystal Palace home game that United won 4-0, and Mkhitaryan was just complete garbage in that game, and he hasn't had a good game since.
Yeah, pretty much the case, yeah. Seems to be a confidence player who has no confidence. So everything was going wrong for him. He was given the opportunity at number 10 this season. He's a Mourinho number 10, bursty, creative, not an old-fashioned number 10, quick with the ball, all of that kind of stuff, and just didn't take that chance. The word went round that he had a different football philosophy than Jose Mourinho, i.e. didn't like tracking back. Or any of that kind of stuff. So he'll do just fine at Arsenal. I'm not sure exactly where he'll fit in. He might play off one of the wide, in one of the wide forward areas. Arsenal often play with three at the back these days, don't they? Yeah, he's not going to be playing as a wing back, but he'll play in one of the sort of wide attacking areas. And he's technically very good. He'll fit in fine at Arsenal, and maybe he'll get back some of the confidence that he's lost.
And I sort of hope he does, moderately well at Arsenal. Not well enough to, make Arsenal good, obviously, but I hope that him on a personal level has a lot of success there, because he always seemed like a lovely fellow as well, and really seemed to love being at United, even though he didn't love Mourinho necessarily, and sort of feel like it's a shame that we didn't get Mkhitaryan under Ferguson, because I think that could have been something quite special. I think he would have been the perfect kind of manager to handle Mkhitaryan.
Yeah. Well, Mourinho has very little subtlety to his man management. Right? His way or the highway, and Ferguson was able to adapt to all kinds of players. But that's pretty rare, isn't it, in managers to be able to do that.
I think he's the only one.
He'll be gone. Will we see him? We must have another game against Arsenal. I guess at Old Trafford. I'm trying to remember when we last played them. Because we won at the Emirates. So I think we have another game at Old Trafford. So I guess he'll be back at that point. That should be fun, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get a nice reception, unless he says weird stuff from now until then.
And then maybe we'll see Sanchez at Yeovil, although apparently there's a little delay here because they're both non-EU players, and they both have to sort of reaffirm their work permit status.
Right.
So it could delay things a little bit on the final registration. They have until, I guess, Wednesday or Thursday in order to do that for him to play.
As was pointed out widely, it would have been funny if he'd made his debut at Turf Moor, like another recent high-profile Manchester United number 7. We all remember when Angel Di Maria bestrode the Turf Moor grass like the Colossus that he was for about 5 minutes.
You're playing very well at Paris Saint-Germain at the moment.
It's almost like he's an excellent player who was horrifically mishandled, isn't it?
Yep. So that's Burnley. That's the transfers. Another piece of news this week: Michael Carrick is retiring. Going to be. Has he actually announced his retirement? Mourinho kind of announced it for him that he'd be joining the coaching staff. Is he definitely not going to play after this summer?
I think it was widely said that that Carrick had announced his retirement, and he didn't say I'm not retiring, which he presumably would have done. He could have told the people in the away end at Burnley, couldn't he? Because he was there with his son, who apparently absolutely loved it and wants to go again next week.
Yeah, apparently he's fit though, so he could be in the squad to face Yeovil. Are you allowed kids in the way end at Yeovil on their own, unchaperoned?
He could be. I'm sure he could find a chaperone.
Maybe Gary Neville will come out of retirement and sit in the away end.
Yeah, maybe.
He likes doing that.
He doesn't like us anymore, though, does he? So
I'm sure Carrick will be a good coach. I have no idea. Right? Maybe he won't be, but he talks a good game about the game. He seems pretty insightful, and he's composed, and obviously understands the game on the pitch very well. Always an incredibly intelligent player on the pitch for United over the last 10 years or so. So I get the sense that he'll be a good coach in the way that I never got the confidence that new Wales manager Ryan Giggs would be a good coach. But we'll see. I mean, there's it's surface deep there. I don't know what he's like as an actual coach, but he's been doing some with the under 13s or under 11s. Can't remember. He's been doing that for quite a while anyway. Michael Carrick.
Do you think Paul Scholes is annoyed? Like, come on. I was there for years. He didn't let me be a first-team coach when I retired.
Wasn't he looking for more than he was offered? He had a short spell with Nicky Butt.
Yeah, under Giggsy.
14s or something. Yeah.
Maybe so. But yeah, it's nice that Carrick will stay part of the club, and his career has got to be the most. Well, I was going to say the most polarising player to have a 10-year-long Manchester United career, but there's one guy that's just left last summer who might run him close, polarisation-wise, for a player that's been there that long. But, still people who absolutely hate Michael Carrick and everything he stands for.
Yes, but there are people who don't understand football and they're stupid. Just to sit on the fence on this one. If he was called Michel Carriquet, he'd have had 150 caps for Spain.
Where would he be from if that was his name?
So, I mean, look, any top European nation, he'd have had 100 caps. Just absolutely criminal how successive England managers just didn't understand what to do with a player as intelligent and as good on the ball as Michael Carrick.
One of the really mad things about it is Michael Carrick's presence could have made Gerrard and Lampard work together. It's a thing that I've thought for many years. Like, if only you had someone who would religiously cover the spaces, make sure that they weren't overcommitting going forward, and could feed really devastating passes to players who've got superb ability on the ball to shoot from long range. Anyway, but what England lost, United gained, because, he's had such a long career at United, and up until very recently, I thought last season, I think I predicted at the beginning of this season, actually, that he'd retire by Christmas, and I wasn't too far off on that. But I thought last season he really looked shot to me, and given everything that came out about his health, perhaps that's not super surprising. But up until last season, he was just excellent. All from, he was brilliant when he first came to the club. And I remember you saying on this very show, in the early days of this show, that he's one of the players who suffered most from Ronaldo's departure, because it looked like he had to re-find himself. And he's talked about this himself, really, that, after Ronaldo left, his job wasn't just to kind of recycle the ball quickly and get it to Ronaldo in the same way it had been. And it took him a while to bed in. And I think it was probably around 12, 13 that that was when the Carrick chant started, that away at QPR, and then really caught on. He had a superb season that season, was probably second in everyone's Player of the Year vote that time around. And since then, he's managed to be consistent while everything around him's been falling apart around his ears, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's got 460 games for the club. Very few players have done more than that. Countless trophies, including many, many Premier League titles that said Steven Gerrard definitely doesn't have any of. And he had a very good career before that, 2 great seasons at Spurs, very, very, very good young player at West Ham. He can be very proud of his career, and I think it is not his fault that he didn't get more England caps. He should have done, and he should have been playing in those big tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you said not many players have played that many times for United, and he's 17th overall in United appearances, which is, so that's to be in the top 20 for a club that, as you say, has been around for 130 years is really quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, bravo. Great career. One of the last, I guess he's the last player from the 2008 team to still be in the squad, isn't he?
Yep.
I was going to say he's one of the last of the Fergie era, but he's not, because actually the whole of the back five were Fergie purchases yesterday. The man endures, doesn't he?
Yeah, he certainly does. And you'd hope so too, because you'd expect 5 years after someone's retired, they haven't replaced the entirety of the squad, especially when
I don't know. That's modern football, though, isn't it? They big clubs recycle the managers and it really is recycling, because they just go on this merry-go-round every 3 years and change all the players.
They do. We had a really nice email this week, Ed, from a guy called Matt Fajner from the States, who recounted discovering our show at about episode 300. And in episode 300, you said, I wonder if anyone's mad enough to have listened to all of these. And he decided that was him and he was going to take that challenge. And he's gone back and listened to every single Rantcast from the beginning to now. And apparently really enjoyed that process, which I thought was just glorious.
Wow.
I also wanted to say a big thank you to...
Did he do it all in one go? I mean, is he now totally unshaven and smelling really bad, having been just listening while eating pizza for a week?
A week?
Well, it's 300 hours. How many hours in a week? No, it's more like 2 weeks solid, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Imagine if you did that. I've done it. Obviously not all in one go, but there's a couple of podcasts which, when I discovered them, I discovered them quite a long way through their run and went back to the beginning and listened to every episode. It's quite a fun thing to do. I did it with the Giant Bombcast, which is 3 hours long every week, so that took a long time.
3 hours. Yeah. Jesus. 3 hours. Producer Tom will be very glad that we do 45 minutes to an hour and not 3 hours for him to edit. Although, we could threaten that, couldn't we?
So before we get to Twitter questions, we'll do this in the wrong order for once. Yeovil, 21st in League Two. Yeovil Town, not exactly high flyers, but I mean,
well, it's going to be a close game, this one, isn't it?
When we were growing up, they had this big reputation for giant killing because they were always a non-league club and they would quite often get to the third round. That's my memory of it anyway.
With their sloped pitch.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. They had this sloped pitch, but they don't have it anymore. It's a normal pitch now.
That's where it all went wrong for them, didn't it? Yeah, I mean, it was good fun last time out. Wasn't it a couple of years ago? So the game there, and it was a bit closer than perhaps we thought it might be.
It was.
Yeovil finished 20th in League Two last season, and they're currently 21st. So they're nothing if not consistently. But look, it's the same with all clubs in that part of the world. Really, it's they aren't big cities down that way, are they? And it's hard to muster the crowd. So there's never been a club from Devon, Somerset, or what's the other one?
Cornwall.
I know my geography well. Made it into the Premier League, I guess.
No, and it's not. Yeah, it's not surprising, and I guess it'd be a very long time until that happened. Because also, they're not necessarily a footballing hotbed culturally, is it? In the Southwest does not exactly have the same reputation as the Northwest in that regard. But that last game, it was really laboured, and it took a Herrera wonder goal to separate the sides. And I think the Di Maria goal was right at the death, if I remember, to make it 2-0. It was almost over by that point. That goal was basically irrelevant, fittingly, because Angel Di Maria's United career was basically irrelevant, sadly. But yeah, I just remember Herrera turning and shooting and the place going absolutely ballistic because he did it in front of the United end. And of course, like all United aways in the FA Cup, it sounded amazing because those are the best games for atmosphere, aren't they?
They are, and there'll be a good following there next Friday night. It's going to be a bit of a bugger for those travelling to get back to Manchester, I'd imagine. I'm gonna guess there aren't too many trains late on a Friday night going from Yeovil to Manchester.
No, that is a really cruel bit of fixture scheduling, isn't it?
Well, when was the last time broadcasters gave a flying about the fans? This side of never. Is when. So, but the fans that do make it there, they will be in fine voice and cheering United on, and we are just delaying because we know absolutely nothing about Yeovil, the team, but except they're not very good.
And their star striker is an 34-year-old Ivorian, which I found to be a delightful quirk, who in the last several years has turned himself into a lower league journeyman, playing for Carlisle United, Notts County, Stevenage, Blackpool, Bradford City and Yeovil Town, where he scored 24 in 84 appearances, including 9 in the league this season. And his name, I totally know, is Francois Zocco. So
yeah, I was checking out the team. They play a 4-4-2. So we'll see whether United like it up them on a cold Friday night in Yeovil.
I mean, it'll be balmy and warm down there, won't it?
English Riviera.
Exactly.
Well, near enough is, that might be talky. Showing off my knowledge of the Southwest here. I'm sure they're going to love the occasion. I can't imagine United are going to bugger this up.
I can.
Really. Okay. But what kind of team do you think Mourinho will put out? I mean, there's definitely a few players likely to be rested, given that it's Spurs on the Wednesday afterwards away.
So I think we'll see Romero and we'll see Luke Shaw. Those are the only two that I guess we'll see a start for Marcus Rashford. I'd say those would be the three players who I'd feel most confident of saying they're going to be in the first. I think he'll.
And Herrera needs a game.
Yeah.
Because he's not had a lot. Fellaini will get a game, surely, because he's not had a lot.
Oh, God. But
and then there's a few players like Carrick, we mentioned, McTominay, Tuanzebe. Will he get a game? Because Mourinho talked about him the other day, saying he's been unlucky. We've got a lot of players there.
But we've still got a lot of players. Marcus Rocco's fit, I think. So maybe he'll play. I actually have no idea if Marcus Rocco's fit or not. We haven't seen him, have we, in the team? I don't know if he's been on the bench lately. But I mean, if he plays Herrera and Fellaini, right there, that's given the form that the two of them haven't exactly been. I mean, Fellaini's not been in bad form. He's just not been involved because he was injured and everything. But Herrera's been in. He looked good against Derby. Herrera did, but I'm not sure whether we'll see that version of him. I mean, he likes Yeovil, doesn't he? We know that. So maybe that'll...
Yeah, and he's not one of the players who's not going to put in a shift simply because it's a lower league club, and Fellaini will definitely find his level.
But, you could see a bit of a disjointed performance if Mourinho mixes it up too much. So I don't know. I mean, obviously United should definitely win this game, but I think given the last few years to just be like, it'll be fine, it's only Yeovil. It's like, well, I mean, it'll probably be fine because it's only Yeovil. But on the other hand, there is the chance that it might not be fine because we do tend to find a way to underperform randomly these days, especially if we're taking it lightly and rotating heavily. Because if you're saying like Tuanzebe, Fellaini, we assume Romero, Herrera, Shaw, that's 5 out of the 6, and Rashford, so that'd be 6 out of the 11 who didn't start this game. And Mourinho doesn't tend to change it that much.
No, he doesn't. Although this is definitely the game in which he would do that, with the Champions League starting again soon enough, and a big game against Spurs coming up. Victor Lindelof wasn't in the squad at all. For United's win over Burnley. Didn't hear about any injuries, so maybe he'll come back in.
Yeah. You mentioned Axel Tuanzebe, actually, which reminded me of something that I wanted to talk about, and that's one of the greatest days in the history of Manchester United Football Club, which was Thursday this week when Jesse Lingard was given access to the Instagram account, and it was absolutely brilliant.
I don't agree with this. This is just... It was nonsense and silliness, is what it was. It was good fun.
Yeah, exactly. There were individual handshakes with different players, as you would expect. There was a very good one where he pretended to meet Alexis Sanchez in the medical, which was just very funny. And then he filmed himself watching it on the news later that day, which was proper funny. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I thought that on a slightly serious note, this is actually a really good thing, because we talk all the time about footballers being isolated from people and, the kind of lack of relationship between the players and the fans. And this kind of stuff really, especially for young, I mean, I'm a child at heart when it comes to these things, but especially for young kids, it's absolutely brilliant to be able to get that kind of glimpse of what the relationship between the players is like behind the scenes. And, I think it's more than just... Of course, it's very silly, but I think it's more than just silliness. It represents something slightly more important than that, slightly more about the kind of connective tissue.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sense of access, I suppose. It's still a distant access compared to the now distant past of players interacting with fans. There was a funny shot on Sky Sports earlier of fans gathering outside Carrington waiting for Alexis there. It was basically one bloke with an umbrella and his daughter. I was like, I'm thinking this was the dad's choice to do this, to stand out in the freezing rain on a Sunday. Wow.
Also, like, fans gathering outside Carrington is like, well, fans gathering at the end of a really, really long road outside Carrington.
Yeah, exactly. It's not exactly a central Manchester location, is it? Anyway, shall we do some Twitter questions?
Sure. Have we got some to hand?
We have some. We have some. We normally have quite a lot, but
Any particular
somehow, since it's only recently my job to do this, since Paul gave up tweeting, lazy git that he is, I now have to tweet out questions and ask them.
It's terrible.
Sakkan, Sachkaan, asks, do you think Jose will be more expansive in big games after Alexis's arrival?
Hold on.
I think Alexis is going to enjoy playing it right back.
I'm just going to hold on. Here we go. No.
Again, it's just brilliant. You've got your 500,000 week pound new attacker. You're going to be doubling up with Antonio Valencia in defensive positions on Wednesday night at Spurs, probably.
Funny place for him to start his United career, isn't it?
Vishrat Garag, Vishrat_Garag, or Garg on Twitter asks, and I think this is a fair point actually. Do you think the one problem with the attackers not passing and going solo runs will become worse after the arrival of Alexis? The point being that it's not always joined up unit, is it? United's attacking play. It sort of speaks to the idea that Mourinho only coaches the defensive side of the team and just lets the forwards do their thing as long as they're tracking back.
Yeah, I think I said that last week on the show. I think that's the big reason that I have had to kind of almost let go of that in order to enjoy the fuss and nonsense and furore around the Alexis Sanchez transfer, because I think there's a real prospect that he doesn't dramatically improve United's attack all in one go because of that. I look forward to being proven wrong.
Gary_1105 says, how often do you reckon we'll start with the front four of Martial, Sanchez, Rashford and Lukaku?
Never.
I really hope we're totally wrong about Mourinho and he just goes, I'm playing 4-2-4 now. Pogba, throw on all the forwards.
Yeah, so that's like Pogba as well. So, he obviously is a very good midfielder, Pogba, but he's a forward at heart in a way, isn't he? So, I think the answer to that is very rarely, but it'll happen. Like when we're chasing games and stuff, there'll be times when we've got that front four.
Maybe. You might want to swap one of those out for Fellaini, who are chasing games. Matt Fajnor says, how many players are United away from winning the league?
That's 300 episodes deep into the Rantcast, Matt Fajnor.
Not quite 300 players, but a few. Another midfielder. I don't know exactly where they fit into the team, but the balance of the squad looks better when it's a 4-3-3. Maybe that will change with Alexis. I don't know. He fits into that formation pretty well, doesn't he?
Yep.
And so another very high quality central midfielder would be needed. Sort out the defence, both full-backs, or maybe not if Luke Shaw's fit and playing as well as he has done recently. But he dropped against Burnley, wasn't he?
Yeah, that kind of makes the notion that Luke Shaw has made that position his own extremely flaky. I
thought that was so harsh. He talked about Luke Shaw before having done really well, and he said there are not many better left backs in the world than Luke Shaw now. Well, apparently Ashley Young is one of those.
Apart from Young, I think definitely right back is a position that we need to upgrade to really threaten the league. But some people seem to think Antonio Valencia is wonderful, and I might be completely wrong about this. But to me, he's just far too wasteful in attacking situations. Or I don't know. This is the point I've banged on about with Fellaini. But again, there's an opportunity cost factor with Valencia where it's like a really good right back. I feel like Valencia is kind of the kind of player who's like at a level where if a really, really good right back came in to replace him who was really good in attacking areas, you might go, oh, that's what everyone's been talking about, because he's functional, isn't he, rather than brilliant, Valencia.
A couple of questions on related lines. Richard Ruffley, so at Felly Beat and at Crab's Legs 111 ask, when will United be announcing their new Chilean snack food partner? And have we already peaked this season after signing our new tractor partner?
I didn't know. Have we signed another new tractor partner, or is that
I'm not sure.
the same one? If we have,
I've
that's
given
amazing.
up watching the minor regional partners.
It's kind of, I'm slightly obsessed with them, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We high-profile South Americans has not been, apart from the odd beloved for a short period of time Argentinian, it's not really been a big factor in United squad, really. So if Sanchez is a massive hit at United, say his United career is an unqualified success, that would be the first South American at United to have an unqualified success at United.
Yeah, we'll see if he is an unqualified success or not. Of course, his arrival will always be couched in terms of money, I'd imagine. But he might be the one that's got all the right ingredients. You know, he's not coming from directly from South American football or from Europe. He's had 4 seasons in England now. We know exactly what he can provide. All the ingredients are there for him to be excellent at United.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Chile's not a big economy, though, by the way. So
No.
I'm not sure we'll be signing an awful lot of Chilean snack food partners or telecom providers or any of that kind of stuff. We'll see. So final question of the week comes from Ricky Daniels at RickD83. How do you value the 98-99 Champions League winning team in this crazy transfer market? Come on, let's put a value on it.
Oh, on each player individually, right?
Each player individually, and of course we're gonna have to include Scholes and Keane, even though they didn't play in that final.
Okay,
yeah. So Schmeichel,
and we're assuming 3 years into a 5-year contract on all these players, right? So
yeah, we could probably actually, if we had time to research this, we could work out where they were in their contract.
Schmeichel would be a free transfer at the end of the season.
Exactly. So free, and he was getting on a bit, wasn't he? Schmeichel. He wanted the warmth of Portugal after that.
Let's all assume. So we're taking them at the. Imagining they were they were 3 years into a 5-year contract, but at the level they were at in 98-99, rather than at their ultimate prime. So
yeah,
I'd still say you're looking at a 15 million fee for Schmeichel minimum.
Yeah, because you'd get another 3 years out of him. Yeah, if he had a contract. Yeah, in theory, and you did. He hit the heights of Lisbon, City, and Aston Villa.
Gary Neville, well, that's 50 million straight up. We know what the top.
I mean, he's a better fullback than Kyle Walker, for sure. So more than 50 million.
No, I think 50 million because I think he's obviously doesn't have the pace that Walker has, so you lose something there. But tactical awareness, like Pep would have loved Gary Neville. He'll definitely come inside for you if you want him to. I mean, Ronnie Johnson, 35.
Very, very talented player. Not the high-profile one, but a really excellent defender and great on the ball. I mean, City would be all over him.
Yeah,
on the ball, Ronnie Johnson.
As they would.
Jaap Stam. Well, he's a better defender than Virgil van Dijk. So Virgil van Dijk, 75 million. He's a 90 to 100 million pound defender.
Yeah, 100 mil straight up, no doubt. Jaap Stam, 100 mil because he was everything. Like, he's an incredibly dominant physical defender, but also raised in the Dutch total football school, and you could tell, couldn't you? So excellent on the ball. And he could beat you up as well as play football. So Dennis Irwin. How old was Dennis Irwin at this point? Because prime Dennis Irwin, that is 70 million minimum. One of the best fullbacks in history. Can play right
Dennis
or left
Irwin,
back.
I will quickly Wikipedia him.
He was getting on a bit, I remember, because I think he left United.
He's 52 now, so it's 18 years. So, no, he was mid-20s. He wasn't getting on a bit.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought he left United in sort of fairly early 2000s.
Well, let's add it up. 99 is nearly 19 years ago. Christ almighty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, sorry, my math is crap. Yeah, so he was just over 30.
Okay, so still 40 million. I'm going Dennis Irwin.
Well, superb player, but yeah, maybe not 40 for player that old. But all right, and then we get into midfield. I mean, this is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
money
they're
here.
just all 150 million. Giggs 150
Giggsy,
million.
150 easily for Giggsy.
Skulls
no
150, no problem.
Yeah, Keno.
might be the single most important footballer in any team in history. Like, if you don't want to spend 150 million on Roy Keane, there's something wrong with you.
And Bex would just be huge money because globalization.
But also, I mean, especially in
Also, he was a
1998,
very good
99,
footballer.
absolutely incredible at football. Like, this is prime assist and set piece Beckham, isn't it? Like, so that's 150 million each for them.
Right, and York and Cole, you got 2 25-goal season plus strikers there. So Cole's the less sort of all-round talented player.
Yeah, but he's a heck of a
He's the
finisher.
fox in the box. Lukaku 75 million. So
yeah, he's more.
That's Coley.
Yeah, all right, and then
York
90,
bit more talent.
Yeah, 90 mil.
Yeah,
but
easy.
Character issues, as they say in American sports.
Character issues.
We've missed Nicky Butt.
Yeah.
Nicky Butt. Nicky Butt.
Nicky Butt, of course, played in that final. Yeah.
40 mil.
Yeah, easy. Jesper Blomqvist played in that final. I mean, he would
17.
now be. Yeah, he would now be a £30 million player because Victor Lindelof's a £30 million player.
17 mil. I'm saying that'd be what he'd go for now.
Cheapening him.
Yeah.
Anyway, hell of a lot. The manager,
priceless.
Very good. That's it this week, I think.
Good show. I don't mean like jolly good show, old chap. I mean good show, as in that was a fun show. Thank you to everyone for listening. We've got to do a prediction for the Yeovil game.
4-0.
Yeah, finally. Come on. What's happened to 4-0 FC? 4-0. Nothing less will be accepted. No more will be accepted either. Precisely 4 goals, please, United.
And we'll squeeze in a pod in between Yeovil and Spurs the following Wednesday.
Yep, absolutely. In the meantime, take good care of yourselves. Enjoy the game. If you're travelling down, I hope you're in good voice and have a great time. And we'll see everyone next week.
See you then.
The Rantcast is produced by Tom Jenkins and supported by listeners like you. Head to patreon.com/Rantcast to find out more.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.